you think about InterVarsity as a whole, what do you see as some of the key focus areas for your movement for InterVarsity? What would you say?
I think I'll speak generally, and then I'll tell you what we're focused on today.
Okay.
Right.
I think generally, actually, EDM hasn't changed at all. We're focused on evangelism. We want to see students come to Christ. In fact, prior to COVID, we've seen some of the best years of sort of evangelism and harvest that we've seen in decades. So
Wow.
so
Awesome.
evangelism continues to be a focus, and our National Director of Evangelism, Doug Schaup, is a tremendous leader that continues to lead us in that area. Discipleship. So we've always been about disciple making and discipleship. We focus on scripture, right? Scripture study. We do that through a variety of means. We've got IVP books that disciple. We've got life on life, student to student or staff to student kind of relationships that cultivate and nurture the spiritual life of students. And then missions, so whether that's abroad or in under-resourced cities in North America or, other places. But I think that mobilization, that sending out of students, we see our roles every 4 years, or graduate schools every 2 years, or community colleges every 2 years, sending those folks out. We're not going to keep them. We know our role as a parachurch ministry is we don't keep them for life. We send them out. And so that's always been our focus and continues to be, I would say. In this season, we're really excited about our vision around 2030. We've got this thing called the 2030 calling, and I know you and some others who are listening may have heard of it, which is a vision to see every corner of every campus in the country following Jesus. And
wow.
And it came through. It's a longer story of how the Lord gave us this vision, but the vision's not just about InterVarsity.
Yeah.
We took a look at what is our mission, and in the end, our mission is not about establishing InterVarsity groups. Now we'll do that, but the real mission, the end, is we want to see every student have the opportunity to meet Christ and be part of a Christian community on campus.
Yes.
Right.
And the sad
So
thing
good.
is, when we did our research 3 years ago, of 2,500 colleges in the U.S., give or take a few, but about 2,500 have more than 1,000 students on their campuses. More than half had no campus ministry. More than half. You're talking about over 1,250 campuses with no ministry. And that just broke our hearts. And we said, as the largest or one of the largest campus ministries, we've got to do something about this. How can we mobilize an effort that's not about organizations, but about this mission we're part of? And so that's what we're about these days. We want to see every campus reached. We've created coalitions like everycampus.com and invited, over 50 other ministries are a part of it, with this heart and passion to both pray for and plant at campuses around the U.S. which have no ministry. So that's really fueling our efforts. So as we think about focus, we're really focused in on that today in these days.
Wow, that's so awesome, because that was actually going to be our next question. We've noticed how InterVarsity has been leading the way, even of casting vision, not only to staff, but even to students. How can you go to these new little nooks and crannies of campus, or these forgotten community colleges and things? So is there anything you want to add that you guys have been doing recently? What are some strategies that we can kind of spread across the spectrum for casting vision, especially to students and staff?
Yeah, I think, well, first I would say, as I said, we've said it's not about us. So we're sharing our resources, we're sharing our coaches, we want to make them available. Again, it's not about establishing just InterVarsity groups. In fact, we've had great partnership with Crew on this, where in one city in Texas, there was a Crew staff who came on and had passion to start a ministry at a campus which had nothing, but there was no local other Crew staff around. So InterVarsity staff coached this new Crew staff to do Crew work, right? We had a similar instance in Utah where Crew staff moved into a city and then learned that InterVarsity already had, 2 or 3 was trying to plant at 2 or 3 campuses in that city, and they said, oh, well, how can we come alongside you and help you plant these InterVarsity groups? Like we don't need to like create another group here, right? So the partnership has been outstanding. So all to say, first, for this effort, we're making resources available to anyone. So on our InterVarsity site, there's planting tools. There's videos and tools for students to, we call it Adopt a Campus. You can find an Adopt a Campus toolkit. How do I plant on a campus that's perhaps across the city from me or nearby? How do I go about that? And we've got different tools for those students who want to do that, or volunteers. A second way that we've tried to invite people into this is everycampus.com is really both a prayer mobilization place. So we want to get people praying for new campuses, prayer walking on a campus. So you go on there, you can find out where your nearby campuses is. Churches can do this easily. And then how do I go about prayer walking on a campus, right? So that's another way. And then there's some, next steps. After you prayer walked, what can you do? There's some steps that we would then send to you, or the Every Campus Coalition would send to you. And then lastly, I'll just say, I think there's a variety of strategies I could share. The easiest to share perhaps in a short time is if you want to start a new group, we have what we call, for Planter Essentials, we got 4 E's. We call it, first, encounter God. We want to make sure you encounter God in the process, right? The Lord's giving you vision. You have an intimate relationship with God. So making sure you encounter God, and the students who want to do this are encountering God. Explore. So we say the second E is explore. Exploring for people of peace, looking for people of peace in this new place. Remember, there's no other Christian group on campus yet, so you're going to have to find people of peace who will be willing to help you, right? And then the third E is empower leaders, right? A key to planting is you can't do it all yourself. You're going to have to look for other missional Christians on campus, people who could potentially be leaders. So empower leaders to do this. And then the fourth is establish communal rhythms, right? So as you're getting this group started, what kind of rhythms do you want to try to establish as this fledgling plant starts? I am totally summarizing it, but those are one of many tools that folks can find, and we would be glad to share.